Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shonen and Chill, hosted by Zenrotto and Asaratha.
Hello. Are you gonna remember to post this one this time?
Well, I'm not gonna post it today because I just posted the other one yesterday
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
like late as shit. So I'll post it in a couple days. I'll let people
Okay.
sit with the last one for a couple days. Uh, I was literally sitting there playing Final Fantasy 14, and as I was playing it, I had just finished leveling up Samurai, right? So I was running it in some
Mhm,
later game stuff, and one of
mhm.
their moves is called Fuko, and I was like, haha, Fuko, like in Undead Unluck. And then I paused for a minute, and I was like,
You're like,
I never
oh
uploaded the
man.
episode.
I remember you said that you were gonna post it the day after we recorded, and then that didn't happen. So I was just like, oh, he's probably just busy. And then I just didn't think about it again until until I got the add everyone, and I was like, oh yeah,
I was sitting there, I was like, oh, it's just like Undead. It was like that meme where it's like, oh, I'm late for school. Oh, wait, I'm an adult. Oh, wait, I'm a
yeah,
teacher. Like that kind of thing. It was like that immediate, like, oh shit.
yeah,
So I'll let them sit with this one for a couple days before I
yeah.
drop the one we're doing right now. But hopefully, yeah, I'll put an alarm on my phone that says,
All
hey,
right, sounds
upload
good.
it, you
Sounds good.
fucking idiot.
The most popular comment I saw on this episode is, "Hey, where's Chainsaw Man?" And my response to that is, I'm getting to it, man. I want-
Give it some
Look, man. I read like 500 chapters of manga in a month. Like,
time.
I'll get to it, man. All right.
Yeah, I saw the one comment that was like, "Have you stopped reading Undead Unluck?" And you were like, "Look, man, I'm so sorry. I'm trying. I'm doing
No,
my
because
best."
like last episode I actually meant to talk about Undead Unluck, but I totally forgot. Cause like when you talk about just a bunch of stuff for like an hour, you just kind of forget.
Yeah,
So
after
I
a
just
while, it
I
all just starts
yeah
blending together. Like
yeah.
you're going with the
Uh
flow.
quick Undead Unluck recap for how far I am. I just got past the spring arc. It was very good, by the way. I actually really enjoyed it. Um, it's tough. It's like one of those things where yeah, you got to get through the first volume, but after that, dude, it's actually pretty solid. It's only getting better in my opinion. Undead Unluck is actually probably working its way up there to probably be one of my top 3 series for Weekly Shonen Jump.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Undead Unluck as well. It's kind of a meme series around here because we can never remember anything about it. That's
Really?
still whole. Yeah, the older episodes, we'd be looking at something happening, like, "Wow, this is cool. I wonder why they didn't do this sooner." And then someone in the comments like, "Actually, they did this in chapter 12." And I'm like, "Oh, rad, whatever."
Oh,
Uh,
my bad.
yeah, but anyway, I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we could do this in the Yozakura family section, but
Yo,
there
yeah, the thing
is
I sent you.
news. Yeah, well, I saw that earlier too. That the official confirmation
Oh,
from Shonen Jump that Taiyo is no longer the lead character and it's now the toddlers are confirmed as the new protagonists.
man, I'm really hoping that this is like some Twitter misinformation. I we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh man. All right. Let's. What's your top three this week?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. The entirety of Weekly Shonen Jump did not really move me that much this week. My top 3 is gonna be Kill Blue, Martial Master Asumi, and then Fabricant 100. That's from 1 to 3 again, just like last week.
Okay. Okay. My number three, I think. I was kind of struggling with it too. I think my number three is probably Blue Box.
Okay.
My number two, probably. I'm like flicking through it. Like, oh, my number two is probably Kill Blue, and then my number
Yeah.
one I think is Sakamoto Days. I'm kind of tripping about that. We'll talk about it when we
Fair
get
enough.
there. But that
Yeah, yeah.
was fucking crazy. Uh, so we'll start all the way at the back. So our first one's gonna be, oh my God, do retry. We're starting with the big ones this week.
I mean, yeah. I don't even know what's happening, bro.
I'm getting like Black Clover. You know, in the like, have you read Black Clover?
I read 80 chapters of it, yeah.
Okay, so remember how in the beginning, especially in like that arc where they're in some sort of undersea temple or city or whatever,
Yeah.
where like every other line out of Asta's mouth was, "I'm breaking my limits. You didn't break your limits. I've broken my limits." Like every 10 seconds.
Yeah, dude,
I'm
yeah.
getting big vibes on that in
Yeah,
this with
dude.
like the strong. My heart is
Yeah,
strong. Yours was
the
not
heart, the
strong.
strong
Yeah,
heart. Yeah,
it
yeah.
won't stop, dude.
I was thinking the same thing about that repetition of dialogue. I mean, yeah, I don't know, dude. He just started shooting up, and then he like started poking eyes out and biting shit. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I
Like
like
I
how
don't.
he just started like shooting himself up with whatever, and then he turned into a werewolf or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I
I don't
really,
know. It
dude, I
was
don't know
pretty good
what's
though.
going on anymore. I don't know what this
I,
manga is about.
yeah, I don't know that this is even like he's just like is he trying to be because I thought he was trying to save his sister, but now like he's trying to be his dad and like be a great boxer or something. I don't know, man.
And see, I'm wondering if this says something about Dear Retry because like people are already recognizing him as his dad. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it.
and it's
I wonder.
chapter 13.
Yeah. Do we know how the series is doing in terms of like TOC and sales? I mean,
No
it doesn't even
earthly
have a volume yet,
idea.
does it?
Probably not released yet, but it has enough chapters for one. So
Yeah. Okay. If Do Retry got axed, I really wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised either. Especially with Nue doing as well as it is. It was trending on Twitter today, actually.
Was it?
It was, yeah.
No
J
shot,
Japanese
dude.
Twitter because I know it trends by
Okay.
locale,
Okay.
but
Okay.
still, it was trending. So it would not shock me if we lost. I think of the new like series that are out there right now, stuff like Kill Blue, Tenmaku Cinema, Do Retry, and Nue.
Yeah.
Do Retry is the one that feels the most disposable, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Like,
maybe I'm just coping saying that because I really like
I
Kill Blue
mean,
and I think Tenmaku's good, but
obviously, you and I don't like New Ways Exorcist, but I think you and I were on that shit quick that we knew that it was staying around. So
yeah, well, Nue's safe as far as I'm concerned
yes,
right now. It's
yes,
doing too well. Um, I would be very surprised if something happened to it at this point, even if it's not my cup of tea. Um,
yeah.
I don't
Let's
think
go.
that Tenmaku or Retry are safe. Kill Blue I think is probably pretty safe. It does really well in the TOC
Yeah.
like every week.
I think Kill Blue has reached the point where like we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, like every time I see the TOC post, it's like always up there pretty high.
Yeah. And I do want to point out that TOC technically isn't indicative of the series performance every time. I think it's
Trends though
safe.
is what you want to
Yes,
look
yes,
at. Yeah.
exactly. I think it's safer to say with newer series that it does point to how it's doing though.
Yeah, I think
Because like
that's true too.
there have been times where like MHA gets like second half of the TOC. I don't think that means that MHA is getting canceled. I don't think that means that MHA is doing poorly. It just kind of happens sometimes.
Yeah, but and especially like you're right with the newer series, like ones they want to push to the readers to like,
Yeah,
get people reading it and go up earlier on.
yeah.
Um,
And plus, there's not many other metrics to determine how well a new series is doing, especially because they don't have volumes. A lot of these.
yeah, there's not a whole lot of
So
sales like reader numbers. You don't really get them.
yeah, this is really the best we got is the TOC
Yeah.
placement, and I think do retry. Okay, so we're 1 for 1 so far with our New A's Exorcist guest, and I want to put forth our second S and C guest that do retry will get axed.
Okay. I think
We can go 2 for 2.
let's go even further with that the do retry will be the first acts of anything that's in here right now. I think.
Fair,
I think.
fair.
Um, the only way I think that that doesn't happen is
Please
if
don't say
they hit.
Fabricant.
I cover your ears. The
Okay, I'm
only way
covering.
I don't think that do retry is the first one to get axed is if they let it go a little bit longer because Fabricant has gone on longer than it. That is the only I think legitimate thought process that they would have is that we want to get rid of this one anyway, and it's gone on longer, so we might as well hit it first. That's all I can think of. All
That's some
right, you
fucked
can.
up shit you just said to me, Zen. That's some fucked up shit.
But do retry definitely feels the most like nothing, you know? And I kind of
Yeah.
liked a little bit of it, where it was like the bit where he was like, oh, he's able to take hits well like this because he's gotten beat up his whole
Yeah.
life, so he's naturally like it's still experience on how to take a hit better, right? Like
Hmm.
it's kind of like he's gotten good at it against his will by like
Yeah.
getting the shit kicked out of him all the time. But like I don't know. I don't really believe in 13 chapters that this little kid with zero combat experience is like a boxer that's reflecting the world champion in his hits and stuff. And it's like I don't know, man.
He's just so good at getting the shit kicked out of him.
That he's now the
And
greatest boxer in the world.
he's like a 13-year-old boy in post-war Japan, and he's the fucking strongest kid around because he gets his ass kicked all the time. He's like an adult
Yeah.
if you think about it. He's
Yeah, I
taking
don't.
on a dude who's like shooting up heroin between rounds,
He's shooting up heroin and he's got like weapons in his hands. I don't know. I think it's like
and he's
broken.
biting.
Yeah, and he's like biting him and he stabbing dudes and he still just took him out in one hit. Because he had a
He's
strong
crazy, man.
heart, man. He had a strong heart. That's what it was. That's all it
Yeah,
takes. A strong heart is all it takes for a 13-year-old to kick the shit out of a drug-addled adult.
I wish I knew that, bro. I would have been crazy when I was 13.
Well, you're a Fabricant 100 fan, so your heart has to be strong, or you're not going to survive what's coming soon.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, all right. Next up, we got Tenmaku Cinema.
Another nothing chapter.
Very
Um,
much a nothing chapter. I do kind of like the setup a little bit of like she's gonna have it's gonna come to a head with her mom at some
yeah,
point,
yeah,
and I kind of liked the setup for that. That
yeah.
like
That's cool.
that she's because I kind of like when a series does this stuff where she clearly is loving every second of this, and it's kind of flying under
Mm-hmm.
the radar. And I
Mm-hmm.
like the realization that like it's not going to work forever, and
Yeah,
she's kind of living this ideal fantasy scenario right now, and it's not gonna persist.
yeah. I would say like obviously I'm sure people are enjoying some of the slice of life or character interaction. However, I think the series too early on in its lifespan has spent too much time on that personally.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's a lot of it is that the characters don't feel like they're characters other than like the main guy and the
yeah,
girl. So they'll
it
do
really does
stuff with
just
these
feel
other
like
guys, and I'm like, who the fuck? Why?
yeah, it really does just kind of feel like that they're all interacting just to get from point A to point B, which is fine. If getting to point B didn't take 13 chapters, right? We're on chapter 13, I forget.
That sounds right. 16.
Um, 16. Oh my god. Okay. I think it's too much time spent too early in the series on this, and I think that is pretty bad for it as a new series.
Yeah, historically, it hasn't been great to spend too much time meandering this early on in
Yeah.
the series.
Yeah.
I am hopeful it will stick around, if nothing else, because it's inoffensive and kind of decent.
Yeah, yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. I like any manga where there's like a ghost friend that only he can see, so when he says
Yeah.
silly things to the ghost friend, everyone else thinks he's an idiot.
Yeah, like in
Uh,
this chapter where he was like, "Oh, when I saw that, I was so surprised," and that dude was like, "You wrote it."
yeah, when he was like, I was trembling when I read that, and the guy was like, "You wrote the
Yeah.
script?" Yeah, I like that.
Um, I have to say, the the idea of beach chapters coming again, it's really like the author has put like a 12 gauge shotgun up to my head, and next chapter could pull the trigger.
I think it's really funny that the cliffhanger for the previous chapter was that we're doing the beach episode, and then this chapter also didn't do the beach episode, and the cliffhanger again is, "Hey, we're gonna do the beach episode now." Which like it's the
Really trying
exact
to get
same.
those reader surveys.
Yeah, it's the exact same final page, pretty much. It's literally just, it's time to do the beach scene, and then
Let's go, dude.
it's exactly the same. Which is fine. I don't care. This series hasn't been like nasty with it, No one.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean, we'll
New A
see.
level where like, well, I guess true. I guess we'll see next week if it gets bad. But the previous bikini shot was just her in a bikini, which not my favorite. Not a big deal. It's not,
Yeah.
New A's Exorcist where she'd walk out and then get like splashed with water, and then her top would fly off and land in his hands and all this shit. None of
And then
that.
he would slip on the sand and then land directly into her chest.
Yeah, directly into her chest and then knock her into the water, and then we get a really
Yeah.
high def shot of her laying in the water. Yeah, yeah. No, none of that. So I'm not saying it was tasteful, but it's just not
Yes.
too
There have
offensive.
been far worse things in Weekly Shonen
Yes,
Jump, especially of the
yes,
currently ongoing series.
yes. Um.
I mean,
So I
you
don't
know,
know. We'll
there's
see. It was fine.
yeah, it's fine.
It
Tenmaku
was.
every week, I'm just like, yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's whatever. Okay. So the next we have Ichinose Family.
I mean, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, well, this is weird because Ichinose tries to always do these like ominous cliffhangers, right? Like,
Yeah.
ooh, something's happening. The ominous cliffhanger in this one is that the kid's kind of a dick, which I think
Nah,
is
dude.
really funny.
Wait until next week when it gets recontextualized with another cliffhanger. Then you'll really be eating your words, bro.
Yeah, then it'll turn out that the kid's not really a dick. The kid was
The
only
kid's not even real, bro.
the kid is a dream. Yeah,
Yeah, he
which I mean
wakes
I
up
kind of
again,
get
dude.
it because like the guy's like, don't ever chastise him ever, and and it's kind of being like,
Yeah,
it's turning him into a little asshole, basically, is the
yeah.
gist of it.
I guess the what this chapter was for is like, oh, the key to this family's success is that they never talk about anything that actually matters,
Right.
and
Like
they kind of just let it all fester.
yeah, they seem so perfect because they never willingly allow themselves to confront a situation where they're not.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and it's having negative ramifications on the little kid because the little kid's not grown up or adjusted yet. Like the
Mhm.
adults can do that because they've already dealt with their bullshit in life, and the bullshit that they've dealt with in their life is they're projecting it onto the kid, and that's causing him to
Mhm.
become a little douche.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not really a lesson I was expecting out of the crazy Dreamscape manga. Like, it feels a little weird.
I feel like this manga's just doing shit, bro.
Kind
Like,
of feels that way, doesn't it? Like, just some shit has to happen, and so then they
and
just
I
do
mean,
that
hey,
shit.
I mean, sometimes it's cool. Sometimes the shit that it does is cool, but I don't know. I feel like it's
Yeah,
just floundering.
yeah. I mean, I've never been off put by it. I'll say that. Like, I've never
Yeah,
read a chapter
yeah,
of it and been like, I'm done with this. Like, sometimes I get confused, and I'm like, what am I supposed to be? Look, but I still come back every week. You know, I'm still here.
yeah, yeah,
So, it is what it is. It was okay. Again, it was okay.
yeah.
All right, so another okay out of 10, and then after that we've got Nue's Exorcist.
Dude, this series sucks so bad.
You're gonna be mad at me. I kind of liked a little bit of it. A little. I
Well,
liked one page.
I know exactly what page you're talking about, though.
Okay, which one?
I assume it had to do with the scene where she got called to her family for having any amount of fun and immediately got fucking destroyed.
No, well, okay, it had to do with that, but that's not the scene that I
Okay.
liked.
Oh, okay. What scene was it?
I liked the scene where he realized that it's not like he can't just be carefree and win this stupid contest. He doesn't just have to be stronger than her. He has to be strong enough to protect her from the consequences of him winning. Like he can't just be
Uh
like
huh.
a selfish dick and
Okay,
be like,
fair enough.
I
Fair
just have
enough.
to win and it's over because he wants to protect her too. I liked that one page of this
Okay,
chapter.
fair enough.
It was probably the least offensive Noise Exorcist chapter we've dealt with so far.
Yes. Yes.
It
There
was
have been
fine.
worse.
It's still very cut and paste. This is like a lot
Hmm.
of nothingness to it. Um, a lot of like, oh, she's the young genius and she's in the put upon household where she can't have any fun. That's like one of the most stereotypical tropes ever. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
it does so well. Is everything about it is just really like cut and
See,
pasted out of everything else, you know?
I think my interpretation of that scene was a lot more cynical than yours. I was just like, oh, of course he's getting a power up now. The nice guy's getting a power up the second he comes across the injured woman. You know, he has a duty to protect the woman.
That's fair. I kind of like because a lot of manga will just kind of gloss over and be like, see, I think the order that these scenes happened in would have been different in a lot of other stuff. Like I think he
Yeah.
would have beaten her, and then she would have shown up after getting the shit beat out of her, and then he would have had the lesson about like I caused this, I'm angry at them, and then he would have gotten his
Yeah.
power up kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that they did it out of order, and he kind of has to confront like if I want to be, because his whole thing is like I want to be as cool as my dad was, which is a dumb goal, but fine. Which is a really weird because it's also the goal in Do Retry. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that he is confronting the fact that having the things that he wants is going to backfire on other people unless he can become
Hmm.
someone that can stop that from happening, which I thought was nice.
Okay. Yeah. I like
The
that
rest of it,
interpretation.
I don't really care about. I don't really
Yeah.
care
I
that
mean.
her family is mean to her. That every single manga ever with like a kind of stoic, mean, talented girl has that problem.
Yeah.
Like it's in Jujutsu Kaisen, it's in like fucking everything. I don't really care about it. I do think it's pretty bold of them to fuck her up to such a comedic extent that she has like Looney Tunes bandages on. Um, like, how do you
They
send a
might
kid
as
to
well,
school
dude.
this fucked up and no one asks any questions?
They might as well have gone the extra mile and had like the fucking Looney Tunes like anvil bruise on her head, you know, like just
The giant red like circle. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Like she's fucked up right now, and
yeah. I do agree that it was probably like it probably was the best episode. It probably was the best chapter of Nue's Exorcist, just flat out.
I would think that I agree with that as well. Yeah.
Um, and obviously that doesn't mean that we we really enjoyed it that much, but
Yeah. It this one was good enough that I would say it's fine, and
yeah,
not loathed every second of reading this,
yeah.
which
I
for New
obviously
Age
had a
Exorcist is a big deal.
I obviously had a much more cynical interpretation of what was going on, but even then, I still thought it was like much more palatable than everything else.
Than it's been up to
So
this point. Yeah,
yeah, so
I
it
can.
was a solid. It was a solid like maybe like 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Oh, I was wrong. There's one other page that I liked. I thought it was funny when she was trying to get Wi-Fi and she was
Oh,
walking
yeah,
around
okay,
the room.
yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, the rest of it was just
And you know
it
what?
was
Actually,
acceptable.
I was kind of worried that this was gonna be some really fucking cringe build up to her like having a crush on him, but I did enjoy the subversion that it was just like, no, I was just actually having fun for once. And I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I was
fair.
just yeah, I did like that. I mean, I think it's probably still going there. I think we're
Please
gonna
don't
end
say
up
that.
there. Probably, he's gonna try to like stand up for her and get his ass beat, and she's gonna fall for him probably at that point. I
Okay,
don't think Nue has it in it to be subversive for very long.
okay, but if it does, I'll raise it to a 2 out of 10. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. You know what? You got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, yeah. New Ways
Next up,
Exorcist out of 10.
terrible rating. Next up we've got Yozakura Family.
There's so much rage in my heart. There's so much hate and rage.
Yeah,
So many negative emotions in me.
I don't know how to feel about it, man. And the thing is, I actually think this is my favorite chapter since we've gotten the children.
Dude, I was literally gonna say the same thing too, and then
Yes.
the extra
And
thing
then
hit.
yeah, we got confirmed that they're not
Uh,
going away.
okay, so for those not in the know, um, I would say fairly reputable account that kind of posts stuff from Weekly Shonen Jump, in Japanese. We can't read that shit, obviously. Uh, the Jump preview for Yozakura Family apparently specified that Tayo is no longer the main character of Yozakura Family, and it is now the children.
Which boy, uh what a weird decision. Even if this was where you wanted the story to go, you wanted there to be a time skip with his kids and stuff.
Yeah.
What what a weird decision to have a main character swap almost 200 chapters in. Um, to these like, I still don't particularly like the kids very much as characters.
Yeah.
They don't really do anything for me. I like the girl more
Yeah.
than the guy kid, but I don't like either one particularly very much.
Yeah.
Meeting the siblings again has been the most interesting thing to have happened after this time skip, and it's kind of
Yes.
like you said earlier, where it feels like they're pulling content out of just reintroducing me to characters that I already know because they're not
Mhm.
particularly different in any meaningful way.
Mhm. It's kind of like a double-edged sword with a time skip, right? Because like yeah, you could change them off screen with a time skip, but that feels kind of frustrating. Because then like you're like, "Oh, how did this happen? I wish I got to see that." And
Right.
then the other thing is, "Oh, you time skip and they're exactly the same." Well,
So
okay, what
what
did
was
we
the point
why
of
did
it? Yeah, why did we
yeah,
do
why
it
did
to
we do
begin
that?
with?
The time skips kind of suck, man. I don't know. Like the more I think about
Yeah,
them, they
I
kind of
think
suck.
if you're gonna do a time skip, you have to do it sort of like Naruto-esque, where like
Mhm.
he's gone, he comes back, and like everything else has kind of stayed the same, but gone on an
Mhm.
obvious progression path. Like Naruto has a built-in progression path to it, where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, you're gonna go through these tests to do these things, and then this is gonna happen. So when you come back later from the time skip, and everyone's older and higher ranked or whatever, you kind of knew that was gonna happen because that's where you were
Yeah.
expecting them to go before they got there. In a series like this, when you have a freeform time skip where their goal was just we got to get better at stuff, and a lot of their abilities are like not tangible in any way,
Yeah, we don't even know how they got better, really.
right? Because how do you get better at like Kengo's is like, oh, I'm a disguise guy, and it's like, are you better at like how am I supposed to know that you're better at
I can
disguises? Or like
look
the
at the
hacker
art beat
girl.
like
Like I guess yeah, it's like hacker girls. I can do even more tech, and it's like, is that did you get stronger that you could hack more thing? Is that like what? I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah,
thought this was a good chapter though. I like the
I agree.
premise of sneaking in and kind of like fighting off his body to
Yes.
rescue him. Um,
I I was partially worried that somehow this Nano intrigue stuff would turn into a gag for a while. I don't know if you ever felt the same way, but it didn't, and I was glad about that.
oh,
Really
where he
happy.
was like kind of shitty on the phone.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really worried that it would turn into a gag. But no, the plot thread continued. The main plot thread of the series actually continued. That was cool. Uh, Kyoichiro wasn't insufferable this chapter. Personally, I
Yes.
like
See, I like
he.
Kirichiro when he's not being miserable.
Yes, he was passionate about another sibling, which was interesting. It was cool. I like it when he
Yes.
does that.
Yes. And
Um,
like Kyoichiro is one of my favorite characters when he's not insufferable, and that's only about
yes.
50% of the time. So he doesn't actually make it into like my favorites list, but he
Yeah,
tends to have the coolest moments when he's on screen
yeah,
and he's not being awful. I even like, his little childish bit in here where he was like, "It actually did kind of piss me off when you were being an ass on the phone, so I don't care if you tell me not to do it, I'm doing it
yeah,
anyway." Like I kind of liked that. Like, he's got like a
yeah.
funny personality when he's not being a fucking creep.
I also enjoyed how like the kids felt like kids for a second, where he equated it to a game for them so that they could
Yeah,
understand what was happening.
to made it into a video game. And
Yeah,
normally I think I would complain when we had something like "Oh no, Kirichiro, don't do that. I can't control myself." And Kirichiro's like, "It doesn't matter. I will prevent any bad things from happening." Like
but he
it's
will.
gonna say, yeah, but one, he will. And two, I kind of feel like it's more understandable because we're dealing with 4-year-olds. And
Yeah,
I don't think the series has done a very good job at this point of selling us that they're still kids, you know?
yeah,
Because like the only other time I can think of when they were in any actual danger was the very like chapter they were introduced when Tayo saves them from the bounty hunter people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
every other time they've pretty much done everything perfectly. Like they've executed perfectly, and maybe they've lost here and there to like the siblings in
yeah.
minor confrontations, but I think that's understandable. So I kind of like the premise of like this is actually kind of serious and it's not something worth fucking around with. And having
Yes.
him say like it's fine, like I'm here to supervise, nothing bad's gonna happen
Mhm,
is actually
mhm.
kind of good.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this chapter only to check the Shonen and Chill Discord and see the goddamn jump preview.
Yes,
So
so that was a bit of wind out of the sails for it, but we'll
that
see.
really hurt, man. That shit hurt. Um, I'm gonna miss Tayo. He was a real one.
Yeah, also
Uh,
his adult design is pretty badass.
yeah, relegated
And
unfortunately to being an off-screen father.
off-screen house husband. Let's
Yeah.
go.
God damn it.
Oh, well, as long if the chapters with the kids stay this good, I might end up liking them eventually.
Yeah, we'll see about
Yeah. All right. Well,
that.
next up we've got Jujutsu Kaisen.
Um, so okay, this is kind of probably like a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. I don't know if you noticed this, but like there's a bunch of panels at the start of this chapter that have like a weird Gaussian blur on them, and it kind of
Yeah,
annoys
I
me.
I I understand the one on the TV. Actually, no, I don't,
Yeah,
because why does your TV look like that? But I
yeah,
still understand what they were trying to do with the
yeah.
TV.
It
Um,
didn't look good.
no, but at least it was. I understood why it was there. Why
Yes,
is it there
yes.
in the flashback when
I don't
like
know.
Megumi or when like it's the flashback. What's the fucking woman's name? Yorozu or whatever? Yeah, Yorozu.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he's fighting Yorozu, there's a weird filter on it, and I
The
guess it's
Gaussian
just
blur was throwing me off, dude.
yeah. And then the weird ass panel where it's like on page 4 when he's like looking at
Yeah, of
Sukuna
him
with
just
Maharaga
standing
behind
there.
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
with like the weird like what what the fuck am I supposed to be pulling out of that? I saw someone was like, "Oh, that's what Gojo's vision looks like with the six eyes." I was like, "Wow, that dude needs fucking glasses.
yeah.
That's
Can we get him some
unbelievable."
fucking? Can we get him some contact lenses,
Some
bro? There's no way he
corrective
sees like that.
lenses. Yeah, there's no fucking way he sees like that. Um,
Um, Other than that, there's a minor complaint that I had because it was very jarring. I don't know, man. It was a chapter.
yeah, I
Uh,
thought it was fine. It was better than just
yeah.
will the domain work or not? Chapter like 12. I
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
thought the twists were pretty well executed. It was pretty neat.
Gay finally had enough of drawing the domain, so he just gave him brain damage, so it
Yeah, he
stopped.
just gave them horrible brain damage, so he didn't have to keep sketching Mevama level at
Yeah,
Shrine every time.
he gave him brain damage, and while he was at it, he was like, you know what? He's like, you know what, Megami, man, fuck you too.
Yeah, poor Megami, dude. He can't win. He can't win fights he's not in. Dude's just getting tossed at all times.
Yeah. Hopefully now that they have brain damage, they'll stop having 18 pages of dialogue every chapter.
Yeah, like now that they have to, because I kind of understand why they had so much dialogue when they were doing this domain spam thing. Because
Mm,
domains, they're not like they're techniques, but you're not like fighting in them, right? Like you just kind
yeah,
of do them, and then the thing that they do happens. You know?
yeah, yeah.
So I get why there wasn't a ton of fighting choreography or whatever. I'm like that punch at the end gave me so much hope that they're gonna
I know.
actually start hitting each other again.
Yes, please
Because
start fighting.
yeah, the beginning of the fight was pretty cool when they were like when Sukuna cut the building down and they're like fighting through the
Yes.
hotel hallway and shit. That was pretty sick. And then they just kind of started standing still at each other really menacingly over and over again. Please just start hitting each other with your fists. Do things.
I also have something to say. I don't know if this is popular because I don't engage in JJK community at all or discourse like that. I really have not enjoyed Jujutsu Kaisen's art style for a little bit now.
I've seen some people say that they have not liked it since like mid culling game, where
Yeah.
it kind of switched up. Like post what's the arc called where Maki kills everybody?
Oh, the Zenin Massacre?
Yeah, we'll just call it. I think it's something else, but we'll call
It's
it
got
that. Yeah.
another name, but I don't remember
Yeah,
what it
I
is,
don't
yeah.
remember what it is either. That like post that, it's gotten a little bit weird. I'm still fine with it.
Like, for an example, is like on page 16 of Gojo in that panel. He looks like an alien. He looks like an
Yeah,
alien, and I
well,
feel like
Gojo specifically has looked really weird since the
yes,
art style shift. And he looks like a different character every time he draws
yeah,
him. Like remember that one when he's still in like the big ass cloak after he shoots the big purple at
yes,
Sukuna and he's like
yeah.
you're the one challenging me and he looks so fucking he doesn't look like himself at all.
I
Um
I I feel like that for a lot of characters in this series now. I feel like Yuji is also one of them. Megumi, I think he's still consistent on, and Sukuna Megumi is still honestly looks really good. Probably the best drawn character out of the series right now. Um, I don't know. The art style has just not been hitting for me like it used to. I used to enjoy it like Shibuya and before and stuff, even
yeah,
though it still had criticisms then.
it feels weird because the earlier art style felt sketchier and like blockier,
Yeah.
but it felt more on model at all times. Whereas
See,
these, like the lines are cleaner, but everyone just kind of looks a little funky. They look a little weird.
Sukuna looks really weird on page 18 on the right side. His look at his hair. What's going on there? It looks like how do I describe this? It looks like
Yeah, I mean
the
he's
left side of his
moving,
hair.
so like I
Yeah.
guess I get it. But the left side of his hair, I think it got like
It's kind of there, but it looks like it's been
well,
scribbled over for the background
the
lines.
speed lines. Yeah, the speed lines are
Yeah.
like in his hair, which is weird. And it's not like his hair is thinner right there. It just looks like the speed lines, the background speed lines are literally in his
Yeah.
hair.
Are you
Uh,
sure? Maybe there will be an analysis post where his brain damage is making his hair thin.
as making his hair fall out because he's got so much. Yeah, it was actually the Buddhist theme of when you get brain damage, your hair falls
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
That shit's fire.
I did really like the panel where his eyes start bleeding. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that looked really good. Um, and Gojo like in after it's weird after his nose starts bleeding, and he's like kneeling down on the ground. He looks
Yes,
good.
I was thinking the same thing. Are you talking about the panel in the bottom left on page 11?
Yeah, the bottom left of page
Yes.
11 and
That
the
looks
top
exactly
and
like
bottom
Gojo.
panels of 13.
That looks
Uh,
exactly like Gojo, which is
and
weird.
I think it's because his hair is down.
Yeah.
Because look at all these other like he's got Super Saiyan hair in a lot of these. Weirdly, he's got like Trunks hair.
Yeah.
Which why? Like I don't remember his hair ever doing that. Because the whole thing back in like the earlier ones was with his hair would stand up straight when he had the blindfold on because the
Yeah,
blindfold pulled his hair back.
that
And
was
then
the
when he
entire
took it
point of
off,
it.
it would fall back down like in his face, like in his eyes. And now it's just always like look at page 7. Look at Gojo in page 7. The fuck is
Yeah.
that?
Maybe
Why does he look
there's a
like that?
strong breeze. Have you ever considered there's a
Yeah,
strong
there's
breeze?
just this constant wind at all times that happened to go away when he got his brain damage. And I don't know. Yeah, I think like and again, he looks like a freak on page 16, and his hair is spiked straight up. And then on
Yeah.
page 17, it's spiked in a different style. It's to the side now.
The wind is just it's changing directions,
It's
dude.
just
Come on, it
flapping all
happens.
over the place. Yeah, like when his
And
hair's down in his face, he just looks like Gojo. He just looks normal.
yeah,
But all these
at
weird different
least
spikes is not doing it.
at least on like page 18 and 19, his hair is pulled back because like he's moving really fast, so like I can get
Yeah,
that.
he's rushing forward. Like, fine, I
Yeah.
get that one. But there are so many where he's just standing there and his hair's just all up in a bunch of different. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's it's weird.
Yeah, he just kind of looks ugly, man. Sorry to say
Yeah,
it.
it's weird to take the character that you've made famous for being like really hot and then draw him really weird. and like
My
ugly.
hottest dude, my hottest take is at least in the anime. Season 1 Gojo was fucking he was fugly, dude.
He had his moments with weird shots, like when he pulls the blindfold off in the
Yes. Versus Jogo.
no,
No?
when he's up in the air and he pulls it off
Oh yeah,
looking
that one was
down at
bad too, yeah.
Hanami. That looked awful.
Yeah.
Where he had like
I
the
thought
weird mouth. Like, it was weird.
I thought in the anime every time he pulled his bandana off, he looked bad, personally. I thought he looked ugly.
I think he
And then
looks
I go
good, like when he's just floating there, looking down at them. I thought he looked fine when he was killing the guy, the crazy guy who wanted to make him into a coat rack. Um,
Season 2 he looks great though.
yeah, he looks really good. He looks much better in
Yeah.
season two, but yeah, we already kind
Yeah.
of talked about that. That was the art style thing that we just
Yeah.
like the way it's gone.
I love how the JJK chapters just them beating the shit out of each other kind of and talking, so we're just like talking about how fucking ugly Gojo is now.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. If there's
um
any character that shouldn't be right now, it's probably that one.
you want to talk about the new episode?
Yeah, we can. Fuck it. Spoilers if you haven't
Um
seen it. Sorry.
yeah. Obviously it was a good episode. Um I had some personal qualms with it. It kind of I started having flashbacks to My Hero Academia season 6 with the pacing of the fights because it felt like we spent a lot of time just walking around and talking. And obviously that is one to one the manga. But the issue is it's a manga, right? I can read that stuff in like a second, and then I could just like start imagining the action again. So when you adapt that stuff, for me personally, it felt very sluggish for the pacing of
Yeah, I can
the main
see
thing I
that.
think of. The
You
main thing
know,
I think of is Geto and Toji. Felt like it really suffered from that.
yeah, in the manga, it was pretty quick. It was just like kind of a bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang. It was over immediately. Um, what are your thoughts on all the complaints about uh, Gojo Toji round two?
You mean the complaints that oh my god, it's a different angle?
It's a different camera angle. Yeah. What are your
I
thoughts on
really,
that?
I really don't give a shit, man.
I don't either. It's so. I was reading that shit, and it was like a thread too. It was like they completely Jujutsu Kaisen in the mud. It's completely ruined, and it's like the camera's just turned like 30 degrees to the left.
Yeah, it's really not that big of a deal. I think the complaint about the dialogue pacing is far more valid than, oh, it looks different. It's
It
the camera
it doesn't
got
look
punted to the left.
exactly the same, yeah, that it did on the
No,
page.
you see, anime fans. I think it's a good thing when the anime does different things than the manga because it's a different medium. That's that's the thing. That's why I'm upset with the first half of the episode is because it didn't do different things. So when I saw that shot, I was like, oh, it's different. That's cool, and that was about it.
Yeah, and it's funny too because this season has done a lot of stuff that the manga didn't do, like
hmm
showing the Urahime and Meimei mission that we didn't really see in the manga because we it just kind of
hmm
opens up with the part where Gojo busts the building down.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't see the rescue of the maid girl. She was just kidnapped, and then in the next chapter she was fine.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember that. That was
yeah,
so weird.
and so it was kind of cool to get that extension on it, and then for it to not, if you wanted to make Geto and Toji more of a thing, I think you probably should have scripted like a fight for them that was more of a thing
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
just making it kind of the same scene. But
yeah.
still a good
Um,
episode, still a good adaptation. I'm enjoying it.
yeah. It's good. Obviously, I had those complaints, but I mean, visually, I don't think JJK has ever looked better than this.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Cool episode, cool season.
Good
I
stuff.
enjoyed it.
Good stuff out of 10.
Yeah,
Next up is Akane Banashi.
I did find it a little bit ironic about one of like the judges talking about how she might have finally left her father's shadow
I don't.
when
I
she
think
went
I
out of
think
her
that was
way.
her teacher, not her the judges.
Oh, was it not? Okay,
Yeah, I think that was
sorry.
her teacher.
Uh, but she went out of her way to do her father's story. I did find that was a little bit ironic, personally. Uh, I mean, I think the cliffhanger kind of leads us to believe that she's gonna lose. I don't know
That
about
was
you.
my thought too. The way that it's set up for the cliffhanger leads me to believe that I'll be kind of disappointed if she wins after all that build up.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
because it's not the only thing I could think of now at this point is if she wins is if they're gonna be like, oh, um, we made it look like she's gonna lose, but ha, she won. But she wins everything, so that wouldn't really be like a subversion in this
yeah.
series. I am very strongly of the opinion now that she's going to lose, whereas I thought after the previous chapter she was almost a shoo-in to win. Um,
I have been hoping for quite some time that she loses. I've
yeah.
been waiting.
And I also kind of liked a little bit in this chapter where the guy was like, how do we judge which one of these was actually better? And the person was like, you don't actually need to like look at art that way. You know? Why
Yeah,
does one
yeah,
have to be better than the other one? Can't they all just be something you enjoyed observing?
yeah.
Uh, Annie Twitter could learn a lot from that
I was
fucking
gonna say the
panel.
same fucking thing. God damn it. I mean, yeah, fine chapter. It felt like this chapter kind of just felt like a way to get us to the cliffhanger.
It did,
But it
yeah,
was
like
yeah,
because there were a lot of pages of the story in this,
yeah.
which it hasn't done in a long time. A lot of time, a lot of times it'll do little panels and bits of the story kind of intermixed with
Mhm,
the people's thoughts on what's happening, which it still did, but this one had like multiple straight pages in a row of just the events of the story she was telling, which it normally doesn't do
mhm.
very often. It really felt like filler, just to
Yeah.
kind of get us to the point where the story ended and they could say who's going to win. Because clearly they didn't want to say who won this time. And they needed
Yeah.
something else to get us to the point where they could still establish a cliffhanger for next time. Um,
Really, yeah, really it
Fine,
feels like
but felt
yeah,
like filler.
it feels like this Akane Banashi chapter is just kind of a continuation of the past like 2, 3 weeks for us where we're just like, yeah, can't wait to see her lose. And then
Yeah, I mean,
we have
I kind of just
to
want the contest to be over because I want her to lose and I want the fallout of her losing to be something useful for her.
yeah.
I'm a little
So,
annoyed that her master was already like, "Oh, you've outgrown your father," which
yeah.
I don't particularly mind that, like, because she picked her dad's story, like that doesn't mean she can't do it
Yes,
better than
yes.
him. But like, I was kind of hoping that that would be the lesson of what she needed to do, and I
I
don't
agree.
know that it feels earned that she's done it,
I
just kind of on
completely
screen.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree with you. I remember back when the decision first came up between two stories and her father's story, you and I were talking about how, oh, her picking her father's story is going to be the mistake that
Right.
causes her the tournament or the contest or whatever. And now it's like, oh no, it's because she picked her father's story. Now that's
That was
what's
actually like
differentiating
the
her.
best possible thing she could have done. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, sure. if you
Yeah,
if you yeah
it's not doing anything to alleviate the issue of Akane feels like she can do no wrong.
yeah
She can't ever be wrong, and she can't ever have anyone better than her. Um, I really hope that she loses, and I really hope it's not like some narrow bullshit reason, because I
hmm
really don't
hmm
want the next, oh, what's the girl's point 93, and she loses with like a
yeah.
91. Like fuck off. Like, I don't want that. You know what I really don't want, which I actually have just scared myself into thinking they might do.
What's up? What's up? Oh, she
It,
wins by 1 point.
no, it's gonna be a tie.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Just hearing it is
yeah.
sad. Yeah, I'm starting to think that it might be 93 to 93, and it might be a tie.
Yeah, that'd be kind of lame, huh?
Yeah, and then they'll have some kind of like, oh, look at these bitter rivals for the future kind of ending thing. Um, I just want her to lose, man. I just want a clear loss, and then she learns a lesson from it that isn't like you have to go take waitress orders at a restaurant to learn how to better read people in the room kind of thing. Like, I want her to do a little soul searching about why she does what she does in a more profound way than she has done up to this point.
Man,
That's all.
normalize losing, man.
Yeah, just lose off. Like, just lose. Look at
Losing.
Megami. Look at Megami. The dude has
I
not
was-
won anything in his whole life.
okay, maybe we don't have to normalize losing that much. Okay, like, um, I don't know, man. Stories are just so much more interesting when the protagonist loses things. Like,
Yeah, and like I'm not saying that a protagonist winning can't be enjoyable, but
of
it
course,
should be like kind of, at least for me, you should feel when a protagonist wins that one, it was earned. And I'm not saying
yeah,
everything Akane done hasn't been earned, but a lot of the
of
times it
course,
kind of feels like we're just told that she's been a prodigy her whole life, and that's just the fact, like how it is. And also, you as the reader should kind of feel that like the same joy of them winning that they do because you've been with them through all the difficult shit they've done to get to that point.
hmm hmm
Like Naruto beating pain and all the. I know that this is hardly a something you can compare to that point, but it's just an example of Naruto beating pain in the village, kind of like rallying around him for the first time, because that
yeah,
was really the point where his goal. to sort of get everyone to like him or whatever that he'd been going ahead. Well, that was done, right? And after that,
Mhm.
we moved on to other stuff. That was a super cathartic moment because you're like, damn, like, look how far we've come. And it feels really weird when Akane kind of just skates through everything with
Yeah.
a little bit of thought, but never really having to like grapple with any difficulty or sad truths or anything. She just
Yeah.
kind of does a little menial task and then learns a skill that immediately allows her to succeed.
I think a good example of a protagonist in Weekly Shonen Jump losing, but then having like a really good come up is Deku. Honestly, early Deku, mind you, not current one. Um, like an example is the sports festival. How he won in his own way, but also got fucked up and lost, and he couldn't control himself, and you know he got his ass beat. But then there's the Stain arc, where he finally manages to control 5%, and then it kind of juxtaposes, since it's the following arc, it juxtaposes his defeat in the sports festival with, hey, look, I can do 5% now. And also, I was able to beat a villain, even though it required 3 people. But I did it finally. I finally did something. Um, Another thing is the forest training camp arc, where he's fighting Muscular, and yeah, he wins, but also he like blows himself to bits. And because he blew himself to bits, he actually loses because then he can't save Bakugo from the League of Villains. And
Mm-hmm.
that makes the rescue in Kamino that much more satisfying, is because hey, this is something he failed at prior, and now he's finally like rallied everyone to come and save him. And it's because he had lost that that was actually interesting to begin with, at least for me personally.
Yeah, I can say I think that's a good example, and I think
Yeah.
that it's funny too because I think Deku has sort of become the poster boy for like, oh, he has everything handed to him, which is always been weird to me.
Yeah.
Um, And I think if you're going to have a series where the character wins all the time, you can look at something like, Sakamoto, where it
Hmm.
bypasses that by one, he's an older dude, and manga tends to like, if you want a character to have a lot of skills without really too much question, you just kind of make them older, and that just kind
Yeah.
of justifies like, oh, they're look how old they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but also, it makes up for it with the set pieces and the action arrangement and all the
Hmm.
crazy shit that they're doing all the time. That
And
makes the fact that Sakamoto wins in the end. It's almost like a superhero story where like you're not
yeah.
questioning that Sakamoto is going to win, but you're enjoying the ride on the way there. Akane
Yeah.
Banashi by design can't do that because it's
I'm
not
also
a series where that functions.
I'm also not really reading Sakamoto to see him like learn and develop.
Yeah,
Like
I'm watching Sakamoto to watch Superman beat the shit out of Lex Luthor's robot. Like that's what I'm
yeah,
here for. Um,
I want to see cool ass shit go on, and that's what I'm getting.
yeah, and it's just weird with Akane Banashi because every quote unquote action chapter is the same, right? It's them sitting on a
Hmm.
thing and it's other people
Hmm.
telling you how good they are at the thing that they're doing.
Hmm.
And I understand that's how it has to be because there's literally no way to
Yeah.
visually convey in black and white still images someone's acting performance, right?
Hmm.
It's like it's almost like Pokemon where Brock has to constantly be like, "Wow, that was a really good move that Ash did for this and that reason." Because like if you don't know about the games, you don't understand like the mechanics, then you need to have the character explain it to you so that you know what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
I get it, but if you're gonna have a story like that, you have to have the interspersed character struggle in there to kind of make up for the fact that you don't have any way to just kind of let anyone turn their brain off and just visually kind of watch spectacle. There's no way
Hmm.
to do spectacle in this at all.
Hmm.
And I don't know, when that happens, I would like my characters to have to deal with some problems instead of just being fine.
I love obstacles.
Yeah, just please, a few.
Yeah, at least one. Come on.
All right, next we have, all right, you're not caught up with Yu yet, so we'll pass on it.
Yeah,
We'll
sorry about that.
pass on Chainsaw Man still up to this point. So looks like next is Kill Blue.
I quite enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't think Shonen Jump this week was super great, but I would say that Kill Blue was probably my favorite this week. Just because I don't know, I enjoyed the character interactions. I liked the home ec president like being like, "Dude, I'm just helping you because you're a fucking human. Stop being a freak."
Yeah,
Like,
stop being a yeah. I love when she's like,
yeah,
"What's with the weirdo warrior mentality? Stop being a
yeah,
fucking loser." Yeah,
yeah. I like that. I liked it when she said, "When it matters most, people look out for each other." I like it when stories I mean, I think I said this for Fabricant last week. I like it when stories don't like go hella cynical about humanity and instead are like, yeah, humans are cool
Yeah,
most of the time
it's
anyway.
it's cool. The way that humans care about one another is actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's badass.
I kind of like
Um,
that the guy is sort of likable too. Like
yeah, he
he's a
really,
bit of a pompous douche, but like he's not a bad guy. He's just kind
yeah, he
of
came around.
yeah, he's got that attitude just because he's kind of how he's always been, but like he's not a bad guy. He just kind of was annoyed that he's not getting all the attention because he's kind of a douche, but
Yeah.
still a good dude in the end. And I like the him helping them out. I like how often this manga has something happen that's like super anime-esque, and then another character's like, "Can you stop being a fucking freak for 2 seconds?"
Yeah,
It
yeah.
happens like all the
Uh,
time.
and then it did a sister complex gag.
Yes, and the guy and he called it weird, which I appreciate. Like, please don't say you're a fucking weirdo. And then
Yeah,
later on, he
but
said
here's the
like
thing though.
Master's gone to the dark side.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Is it gonna keep doing it like Yozakura family, or is it
I
actually
don't
gonna
think that this guy is a major enough character that it's gonna come up that often.
well,
I,
I mostly just mean the approach of like, oh haha, that's him being him. How silly.
oh, I don't know. Maybe. Um, I again, I don't think it's going to come up often enough that anyone's really going to comment on it, other than like it'll be
Mm-hmm.
a panel or two gag here and there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciated that everyone wasn't like, haha, hee hee. They're like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then they
Yeah.
left the situation. And also, I think this version of it is not as bad as the other version of it, where like Kyoichiro gets fucking sweaty and like blushy
Well,
thinking
yes,
about
yes,
her,
that's
like,
true. That's true.
or like the Spy Family version, where it's like the dude wants to fuck his sister, clearly. This
Yes.
version of it being more like an overprotective parent, like kind of fine. It's still not great, but it's better than the I clearly want to fuck my sister version of it. Um,
Yes. I'm hoping that it doesn't get any worse than it is right now.
yes, don't go. They kind of the fact that pacifier guy is still here is what's making me a little bit worried that that's going to become like this guy's like character thing because he doesn't really show up anymore. This is kind of one of those stories where the main character makes a friend, that friend imparts some degree of lesson to him, and then just kind of is in the background afterward, not
Yeah.
really doing anything. Um, so I worry that the pacifier guy's gimmick is that he shows up and then someone goes, "Hey, you're a fucking freak," and then that's it. Like they do it in this episode too, or this
Yeah.
chapter too. And I'm worried that that's what that guy, his gimmick is going to be, is that he's going to show up and be like, "Get away from my sister," and everyone's going to be like, "Stop it, you loser," and then they're going to move on. Um,
No, nothing is sacred, dude. No
yeah,
series
it's
is free of
no,
siscon
no one,
shit.
no one is safe.
Hey, you know what, dude? You know what doesn't have it? New Ways Exorcist, baby.
The
Put
goat,
your stocks in now.
the goat, air horn sound, the goat.
Oh god damn it, man. Oh, I mean, yeah, it was good though.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
good.
just one
I
minor thing
like
I had.
the little bit at the end where he's like, I've been trying to skate under the radar because I just want to enjoy my time here. And then the girl overhears that. And I think that's
Yeah,
probably going to cause some problem because she's going to think that she's dragging him into all this shit and it's fucking up
yeah,
his life, basically.
yeah.
Um, so I think that's good. There's going to be some good character stuff coming out of that, I hope.
I hope so too. Yeah. I mean, Kill Bill's good. I'm still enjoying it. Looking forward to the future. Now that we're out of the pacifier gag. We're moving into greener
Yeah,
pastures.
he only got one panel this week, guys. We're trending down.
Yes,
The
massive,
stocks are slipping in Pacifier Freak.
massive W this week.
All right, next up is Fabricant 100.
Look, man. Um,
You
I'm
sweating a little
hoping.
bit? You sweating that this feels like the final battle?
I've never been more confident that it's not the final battle. Okay.
All right, hey, I respect that.
Um. Okay. Look, I understand that MHA set a precedent of only encountering your big bad one time ever in the entire series before the final battle, but Fabricate will be different. Okay. Trust me. Please trust me. This will be different. They're
should
building.
re-
They're building.
should replace your Discord icon with the Pepe huffing copium right now. You're struggling, brother.
Listen. Okay. Fuck, man. I don't know.
It's personally, I feel like it might never have been more Jover than it is right in this moment.
We'll just have to agree to disagree then. Okay. Um, God damn it, man. Stop it. Dude, I woke up every single time that I wake up and a chapter comes out, I have ads in my Discord saying, "Dude, I think it's over." And this time I was like, "Oh yeah, they're just saying that." And then I looked at the panel they posted. I was like, "Fuck, fuck, it
Uh-huh.
actually might be over, dude. Fuck." Um, it was a fine chapter. It wasn't as good as the ones prior because it definitely feels like we shouldn't be here.
It wasn't as good as the ones prior because they make me sad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't got much to
I
talk
thought it
about.
was good. It's fine. Fabricant is
Yeah.
always pretty good. I don't think there's ever really been a Fabricant chapter where I'm like, this shit sucks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's pretty good. I thought the final like confrontation dialogue felt a little clunky. Um,
Yes. Because we're not
it
supposed to be here, man.
well, yeah, okay.
We're not supposed to be here. I s- is there like do you know if any oil barons watch you? Can they buy like a bunch of volumes?
Well, our previous benefactor was Shinzo Abe, and he got
Oh,
bedazzled
he
by the
did.
do-hit
Yeah,
feat. So,
he did
he,
get thingamajigged, huh?
yeah,
Damn it.
he got thingamajigged. So we're out of, we're low on funding right now, unfortunately.
If there are any other potentially dubious Japanese political figures watching Shonen and Chill, um, can you please do something? Please.
Please, for the love of God.
I don't
Um,
know if you need to buy as many volumes of Fabricate 100 as humanly possible. It cannot be over. Please.
yeah,
I was having so much fun, Zen.
welcome to my. You know, maybe when Fabricate 100 does get killed, we can bond over the fact that you lost this and I lost Phantom Seer. We'll really come together as hosts.
Yeah, depression. It'll be a real
Yeah,
depression era on
we'll be
Shonen and
real
Chill.
sad. Yeah, we'll have a whole episode where all we do is talk about Fabricant 100 and Phantom Seer, and everyone will think we've gone insane.
The episode after Fabricant gets axed, I'm gonna be talking about all the other series in the magazine that week. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, who cares, dude? Who fucking gives a shit?
If Fabricant gets canceled, you need to show up with your icon is just like a pure black icon. Nothing on it. That or the Kaneki. The Kaneki
Yeah,
enemy picture, either one.
yeah. You're gonna the podcast is gonna start. You're gonna do the intro, and I'm gonna be like, don't talk to me right now, man. It's not time. Just leave me alone, bro. Listen, Junichiro Koizumi. Okay, I know you're out there. I know that we've had our differences because of your neoliberal economic policies, but it's time to inflate the Japanese economy by spending millions on Fabricate 100 volumes. Now is the time. I mean, yeah, it was a good chapter though. It was it was fine. Um, I think it's over.
I also think it's over, but you know what? Maybe they beat this guy and number one gets away, and then we're so back.
True. Maybe now that the final battle is starting. Cause I swear to God, the last time they fought one, the Fabricant won. I thought that it was over. And I wonder if every time that they fight one, the reader surveys go up. So every like 10 chapters, we're gonna go fight Fabricant one.
They're gonna go fight him, and then the popularity goes up, and then they move on
Yeah,
because he avoids the axe, and then it goes back down.
yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I gotta have the final battle again."
He's like, well, okay, let me do the final battle, and then they go back up, and he's like, okay, now I can finally tell the story I want to tell again. Oh shit! All right, let me go, let me go fight
Yeah,
Fabricant one again.
it it feels very over, but we'll see. We'll see. The vibes aren't great.
I can't take this shit. Let's move on.
Next up is Martial Master Asumi.
Have you read it yet?
Yes,
Okay, fine.
I read it.
I was fully ready for you to say no. I haven't.
I actually thought this chapter was really good too.
Yeah,
I liked the brother kind of kicking the shit out of him because the last chapter kind of gave him like a oh my god, is he doing it moment, and then this chapter is immediately like no, he's fucking not doing it.
yeah. I had a
That
feeling
shit
that
is not doing it.
I had a
Um,
feeling I felt like Martial Master was aware enough that it wouldn't have him win. So like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, he's gonna get fucked next chapter.
yeah, he got absolutely tossed, which was nice. And then I kind of like the bit that the brother's not just like a random insane
Yeah,
freak. He like has a plan. You know, like oh,
yeah,
my brother getting good at this will generate big ratings, and then I'll get even more
Yeah,
famous because I want to be the
yeah.
best. Uh,
Overall, I'm curious. What did you think of the series so far?
it's good. I like it. I think the characters are cute. Um, there's no one that I actively dislike. The
Yeah.
main guy, uh, is kind of generic, like not in a bad way, but there's just I don't find him super remarkable.
Hmm.
Um, I like the whole bit kind of about how he doesn't like the brother because the brother abandoned the family and the brother just wanted to be strong and that's not his whole thing. And then kind of in this
Yeah.
chapter, growing into wanting to be strong for different and presumably quote unquote the right reasons,
Yeah.
um, which I thought was cool. And I like it a lot. I think of the newbies, it's probably my second favorite after Kill Blue.
Yeah. Fair enough. Um. Yeah, I think it's really interesting that in this chapter he's kind of leaning into this another strength-based identity, despite being so critical of another one. But I'm assuming he's going to have his own spin on it at some point. I mean, he kind of already does, but I mean, like more explicitly later on.
Yeah,
Um, and
I mean,
he's
it feels very different than
yeah
what they've done with the
e-
brother so far.
even in this chapter he's still ceding like ground to that masculine ideal of like the masculine urge to go fuck someone up, right? Like even in this chapter he's like being pretty openly emotional with people, which I think is cool. I think Asumi is good. I think it's enjoyable, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I hope it stays around for a while. This chapter kind of it's funny because you mentioned this in the New Age Exorcist chapter, but I did also get a little bit of the vibes of the woman is sad and now I must reshape my life to make the woman never
Yeah,
sad again vibes.
yeah.
It wasn't offensive, but it did shine through a little bit at the end
Hmm.
there. But they kind of had good reasons for it. You know, it wasn't just
Yes,
like, oh,
I
I
think.
wanted to see you win. Oh, I have to win forever now, so the girl doesn't have to see me lose. Like it was
Yeah,
good character driven moment, but
I
my
think the difference.
my bias shines through, I suppose.
I think the difference between New Ways Exorcist and Martial Master Asumi for me personally in that is that New Ways Exorcist is um how do I put this? It's very apparent with what the target audience is. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's a Coomer manga. Yes.
Yeah, it's a Coomer manga, whereas I think Martial Master has been mostly the opposite of a Coomer manga, and I feel like the main character is. I feel like the main character chapter one was far more interesting than New Ways Exorcist protagonist is 12 chapters in.
Yes. Yes, by a mile. Like not even
so
close.
so uh I mean I definitely see why you thought that, but also I think Martial Master will prove that it's hashtag not that manga.
Hashtag he is him.
Yes, it would be different, trust me.
I respect it. All right, next up we have Blue Box.
Um yeah, it was cool.
It
That's
was
really
good. It
about all
was
I have to
good.
say
Yeah, I
about it.
liked it. I thought it was cute. I do sort of like the implication that like the whole romantic fairy tale period is kind of coming to an end, and they have to sort of get
Yeah.
serious about what else they want to do. Not that they're like gonna break up or anything.
Yeah.
But like a big fear that I had for this was once they got together, there would be nothing left to do
Mhm.
because the sports side of this series has always been sort of present but more or less neglected. Um,
Yeah.
whenever one of the characters was playing the sport for any particular reason, that was usually just sort of framed as the reason why the other one liked them so much. Like it was when they
Yeah.
displayed their good qualities that enticed the other one to them.
Mhm.
Um, but I kind of like that now it almost looks like it's going to be a conflict driver where
Yeah.
they've just gotten together, but they're so dedicated to these sporting events that they want to succeed in. And now, how are they going to balance what was originally what brought them together now being the thing that's keeping them more apart? So
Yeah,
that I'm kind
that's
of
a really
looking
good
forward
point.
to see.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a really good point. Yeah, Blue Box has been going in a good direction. I have enjoyed it. Um, I don't have much to say this chapter. I think you put it better than I could. Good chapter.
Good times out of 10. Good
Yeah.
times out of 10. Next is I think we have at least one more. If I can get back to
Sakamoto, right?
I think is it just Sakamoto? Going through my
I think
list.
so.
Yep, just Sakamoto Days.
Uh,
What the fuck is going on? That legit blew my mind in a good way. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
we got some alternate personality shenanigans going on.
yeah, but like in a very anime good way of like
Yeah.
Is it real? Is it not? What the fuck's happened? Because even
I'm
Sakamoto can't tell the difference?
I'm wondering if uh the big bad's Slur. I've always thought it was funny. His name is fucking
Yeah,
Slur.
slur,
Uh,
yeah.
I think his thing is that he might be able to have access in some way to people's like memories and personality.
Like anyone that he's killed, he can
Yeah,
like.
that might be the condition for it. I'm not sure if that would be it exactly. It could be. I don't know.
So
But
I've always wondered what happened ever since that, because they ran off and they were gone
yeah,
for a long time, and then when he shows up, she's dead, and
yeah,
the guy looks kind of bummed about it, like
yeah,
like it wasn't he didn't really want to, and he's never
yeah.
kind of his whole thing was he never really wanted to do any of that shit he had to do to begin with because he was getting
Mhm,
you know blackmailed or whatever or in
mhm.
whatever it's called. Um, I wonder because when they ran off, she ran after him when they were all poisoned, and she was poisoned
Yeah,
too, and she didn't, to my memory, drink the antidote that the others did.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if he does have that ability somehow, where like if he kills you, he can like I don't want to say this is fantastical enough to be like take your soul in and you're in there or whatever, but like replicate you in some way.
Yeah.
And as she was dying, they kind of made an agreement that he would kill her to keep her alive because she kind of died going after him.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's kind of why he was sad about it, was because she was the first one to kind of reach out to him and be like, we can be friends, like we're pals or
yeah.
whatever that means. And so that may be why he looks so sad about it. And so the him killing her was not like he was defending himself or he was making a big deal out of it or anything like that. It was
Mhm.
just sort of like a way to keep her quote unquote alive.
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, it was a pretty good twist, and I do think that it really fits with the filming guy being here, considering that it's kind of like he's acting now, acting as somebody else entirely.
Hmm.
I think it was a cool chapter, cool cliffhanger. Just like every week, I'm excited to see what Sakamoto cooks up next week because it's always doing some kind of cool shit.
Yep. I also really like it's only in a couple panels, um, but I really like when she stabs him and her hands are shaking. Because this whole time
Yeah,
she's been like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm the big bad badass
yeah,
bitch, whatever. And then when she finally does it, she's kind of struggling. I like
yeah.
that too. Um, I'm
And
looking forward to more of it. The twist was crazy. It's got me speculating. I was more hype
yeah.
reading that than I was probably everything else this week put together, to be honest.
Man,
So
it's
I'm
crazy.
hopeful.
Like I said in my first episode, like Sakamoto Days is a manga that I should not really be like care that much about, but it's cool, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just
well,
a
I'm a complete rawness and swag merchant, so it's fine. Like
yeah,
that's my whole thing. But Sakamoto does it in a way that's like it kind of knows what it is, and it doesn't
yeah,
try to be something more than that, but it still presents you with interesting characters doing interesting things in an interesting world. Like it's
mhm,
not so meathead to the point where it's just like, oh my god, these guys are fighting now. They're just punching each other in the road.
yeah.
It's still like it doesn't try to be super profound. It's not giving you any sort of like no one's writing a Twitter thread about the Buddhist theme element references in Sakamoto Days. Like it's not happening. Actually,
I'm gonna look up
I shouldn't say that. Someone definitely
Sakamoto
has.
Sakamoto Buddhism. I'm looking it up right now.
The fucking I'm gonna get lit up because someone's done that shit. I'm sure. But it knows what it is, and so it chooses to present itself in a unique, appealing way, despite a lot of
Uh-huh.
the Twitter sphere, I guess, and like the anime critique culture being like, oh, it's got to have all these deep themes and narratives and all this shit.
Uh-huh.
Like everything has to be. Are you saying that way because you found the Buddhist thread?
No, sorry, I was looking for it though.
I
I
was
found
getting real
one mention of
nervous.
a Sakamoto and Buddhism, but the context is not what you would think. So,
Okay, fine. I win this one for now. Um, man. But yeah, it knows what it is. It's not trying to be anything that it's not, but it's really good at what it is. It's
yeah,
unbelievably good at what it is.
yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I feel like I shouldn't be enjoying it with my tastes, but
Yeah, with like the way
I'm
that your
not.
your tastes go.
I'm not gonna complain though. I'm having fun.
I think a super good example is page 22. Like look at the movement in that page. It looks so good. It
Let me
flows
pull it.
amazing. It's oh my god, I fucking love this page.
Let me pull it up real quick. Page 22. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I almost said JJK. Sakamoto Days' action has always been super easy to follow.
Which,
Uh,
that's something that mangaka don't get enough credit for. Being able to like flow their panels well and
yeah.
make the action feel dynamic when it's completely still like that. It's a big deal to be good at that.
Personally, I don't really have. I know a lot of people. I've seen threads, especially about like MHA, where people are like, "Oh, the action in this manga is so hard to follow." But like, I don't know about you, but I don't really have that problem very often at all with manga.
It depends on the manga. I definitely have had issues with MHA in the past of being like, what the
Really?
fuck am I looking at? Yeah, like the most infamous one for me is the fucking the double spread where Overhaul's fingers are the panel breaks.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, Jesus, this is too much. One Piece is obviously a pretty big example of just shit being everywhere all the time with no coherence to it. Um, for me, when it comes to action viewing,
hmm
it's hard to do it bad because you can draw as many still images of people getting punched as you want, and your action scene is done. For me, it's about the in between things, and MHA got a lot better with that as it's gone on. It's really good with it now. Back
hmm
in the day, there were a lot of panels where just you never had that in between. Like
Right.
there's a scene where Deku's fighting Overhaul in the very beginning, and Overhaul does this stupid shit where he makes all the pillars come out of the ground, and Deku stomps his foot and breaks them all. But it doesn't feel like it has any weight to it because there's not really any build
That's
up to him
fair.
taking that
Yeah,
action. It's
I
just
know what
sort
you
of
mean.
his foot hits the ground and they're gone, right? Whereas,
Yeah.
like I feel using this page 22 for Sakamoto as an example, a lot of series would have skipped the the way that the first panel of this is depicted, where he's not just grabbing him by the throat, but like the angle that he's moving him,
hmm
leading your eye downward into the next panel where he's getting slammed
Okay.
down. I think
Okay,
that a
that's fair.
lot of a series would have just had him like a still panel of him grabbing the guy around the neck, like zoomed in on his neck, and then in the next one he's getting slammed, right? There's
Right.
a lot
Okay.
of just point A is here, point B is here, but we see nothing in between. And I think that's what differentiates a really great action scene and just like an okay fine one.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Because you
I've
see
personally never
Toriyama
had
get
the issue.
praised a lot. No, go ahead.
I've personally never had an issue with MHA's like action or anything, but when you put it like that, yeah, I can see how someone could.
Yeah, I think they're a lot better about it now. Even if it's in small little panels, he has definitely started to add in those little bits that kind of guide your eye, kind of make you realize, oh, this is going
Yeah.
here, like that kind of thing's happening. Toriyama gets praised a lot for it in Dragon Ball, where
hmm
you'll have those little things that add in extra weight to the action because you're seeing the travel, you're seeing the movement, like. And it's funny because Dragon Ball fight scenes, especially animated, are like 2% fighting and 99% just hard cuts of the same two panels back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over and over again to make them fight really fast.
Yeah.
But in the manga where you can't do that, you can't have like the same two punches and a kick on loop at like 20 times speed.
hmm
I do think that he does a really good job of kind of getting you through each segment of the action. And Sakamoto, I think, might be my favorite example of it that I've ever seen, of just guiding you through the
Yeah.
entirety of an action scene without leaving any
Yeah.
of it to your imagination. Because I don't think you need that middle stuff to make an action scene that's readable, right? Because like
hmm
MHA's action's never been unreadable. There's never been a
hmm
point where I'm looking at these punches and being like, I can't decipher. Like anyone saying that is being overdramatic.
Yeah, no, that's
But
what I've seen mostly. I think your complaint about MHA's fight drawings are is far more substantial. Where people are just like, I look at these and I don't know what's going on, and I'm like, I don't know how
yeah,
you
that
could do that.
that's crazy because it's literally just a kid punching dudes. Like you do know what's going on. The dude he's punching this guy. But I think the
That's
little
what it
bits
does.
in the middle that get you there are what make action scenes engaging and elevates them a little bit. Like when I'm reading an action scene, I don't want to look at the panels and look at what feels like four different PowerPoint images. I want to look at the panels
Yeah.
and see it almost like an animated storyboard. Like in my
Right.
head,
Right.
like my brain is filling in the blanks, but there's not a lot of blanks that need filled. You know,
hmm
like the page 22 again. I'm harping on it because I think it's so good. But like this one in particular, you can kind of just immediately put that motion in yourself. You don't have to create a situation in which that motion is happening in your brain because you're seeing exactly right here exactly how all of it's going to go.
Right.
You could make like a flip book out of this, and it's just it would look fine. Um, Whereas a series where, you know you see one punch, and then the next panel is the other one getting punched, and then they punch each other. It's just not quite. It's not the same.
I think the way you put it, it's like a you could do like a flip book with it. I think it's a really good way to put it actually. That's like a really good way for someone to imagine it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, to kind of
Like how
visualize like the
yeah,
flow.
to
Yeah,
visualize if you want it, if you like if you were somebody who was watching this and wanted to do like better action paneling, I think that's a really good way of thinking about it is the way you're drawing it. If it was a flip book, would it just look like things just like appear in different places, or would there be like a flow or a motion to it despite it being a still image?
right. Would it, or even if there isn't an immediate flow to it, is it designed in such a way that the reader can easily substitute that flow on their own without having
Hmm.
to basically create a fight scene out of all of the images you put together?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's all the gushing I
Sakamoto,
have for
yeah,
Sakamoto Days.
yeah. Same. Sakamoto Days is it's good.
Fucking peak. It's top quality shit right here, man.
True.
Top quality shit. Uh, but all right,
Sakamoto
that's
Days. Sakamoto Days might become my number one if Fabricant 100 dies.
it's it might be. I mean, it's up there for my right. Jujutsu Kaisen's still my number one. I still have faith, but I really hope we move on to something more interesting again because Jujutsu Kaisen also does a lot of that in its
Yeah.
combat. It's gotten a little messier with the combat lately, and I don't know if that's just
Mhm.
because Gege kind of has those vibes. He's like, I really want Jujutsu Kaisen to be over. Um, but like especially in Sendai, like when Yuta's fighting and everything, there's a lot of really good paneling and action flow there. So hopefully we get back to that with Gojo versus actually Gojo versus Sukuna had it when they're going through the hallway and stuff. Like that was sick.
Yeah.
It's still good. I just hope we stop standing around and yelling at each other. But
Man, I miss Yuta.
me too. Ryuta's my man. He has the best fights.
I know. Oh yeah, we're on the magazine's on break next week, right? So
No, I don't think so. At least
isn't it?
all the chapters in the app say new chapter in 7 days, and they usually say 14 days when it's on break. So
What the fuck? I thought so.
no,
Like
because
I've
the
been told by
JJK leaker guy also said no break next week after he was done
dude.
doing
What
the
the
two
fuck?
hours of leaks.
I swear to God, so many people told me that there's a break this week. Oh, okay.
I haven't seen anything about it. That doesn't mean that there is. I'm hardly on the cutting edge of news, but I haven't seen anything about it. If it is,
Okay. I guess we'll find out the hard way.
yeah, we'll find out whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
wake up and I'll see leaks for MHA and I'll be like, oh Jesus.
oh fuck, here we are,
Maybe
back
MHA
again.
is on break. I don't know.
No, MHA was on break this week, but says new chapter
That you
7 days.
you always got to be prepared for the Horikoshi sudden break. Okay.
Well, that's true. It's best to assume MHA is on break until you see it published in the
Yes.
chapter. Not to make
Yes.
fun of him. This is not a him problem. This is
No.
a
No.
this
No.
is a
No.
Shonen
No.
Jump problem. Um, but yeah,
No.
that
Yes.
that is always best. But all right, everybody, that is another episode in the books. Thank you for tuning in. I'll make sure to have this one up before the day before we record the next one.